everywhere but in London. Are you sure that we do not have the same gangs like the rest of the country?
Chair, that's not quite what I've said. What I've said is echoing the words of the Commissioner now and the Assistant Commissioner, I think Matt Twist, on previous occasions. They've both explained that there are serious issues in relation to child sex exploitation. They've both explained that there are a variety of examples of children being exploited, including grooming. And they've both explained, and I've echoed, that I've asked them to make sure no stone is left unturned. So they're going back 15 years, as they've been asked to do by the National Inquiry, using the wide definition given by the inquiry, which includes...
Good day, Britain. Picture this. It's New Year's Eve in one of the world's greatest capital cities. You're young, excited, and ready to watch spectacular fireworks from one of London's most iconic viewpoints. And then you arrive to find the entire area fenced off by police, not to keep you safe, but to keep you out entirely, because apparently London's mayor has decided that proper policing is too expensive and closing parks is cheaper than actually protecting the people who use them. That's exactly what's happening tonight at Primrose Hill, where 30,000 people gathered last year to watch London's fireworks display, and it became the perfect symbol of everything wrong with Sadiq Khan's mayoralty, underfunded police, disbanded specialist units, and a London where fencing off public spaces has become easier than actually keeping them safe. Conservative London Assembly leader Susan Hall has absolutely torched Khan's ludicrous decision, pointing out that Sydney manages 48 viewing spots with 39 of them free, whilst London can't even keep one hill open without descending into security panic. This is a story of how progressive politics' approach to policing has turned London into a city that's easier to close and to protect, and why young London is being turned away from public spaces on New Year's Eve tells you everything about how far the capital has fallen under Khan's watch. Quick favor before we explore how London became too difficult to police. If you're fed up with mayors who find it easier to close parks and fund proper policing, hit that subscribe button right now. Over 94% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, takes a second, and helps us keep exposing leaders who'd rather fence off London than actually govern it properly. Smash that notification bell so you never miss when we document the next public space closure or policing failure. If you've just subscribed, you're brilliant. Cheers. Now, let's dissect how closing Primrose Hill reveals everything wrong with Khan's London. Let's start with the sheer absurdity of what's happening tonight. Primrose Hill, one of London's most beloved spots for watching fireworks, a place where 30,000 Londoners gathered last year to celebrate New Year's Eve together, is being completely fenced off by police. Not partially restricted, not managed with crowd control, completely closed. Police are actively preventing people from accessing a public park to watch fireworks. Think about what that says about London's current state. The capital city of a United Kingdom, one of the world's great metropolises, cannot figure out how to let people safely gather on a hill to watch fireworks without closing the entire area. Susan Hall's critique cuts straight to the heart of the matter. I feel so sorry for young people who are the ones are more likely to go up there. Apparently there were 30,000 people there last year. But because it was impromptu, it wasn't organized properly, security was not put in place. And now, of course, we're using police to keep people out as opposed to keeping people safe. That distinction is crucial. Police resources are being deployed not to facilitate safe celebration, not to manage crowds effectively, not to ensure everyone can enjoy themselves securely, but simply to exclude everyone entirely. It's the ultimate admission of failure. We can't keep you safe, so we won't let you participate. Hall continues, which begs a question about our Metropolitan Police. And is it Sadiq Khan's fault? Yes, he does not fund them properly, and to actually get rid of the Royal Park Police was ridiculous. This is where we get to the root cause of tonight's closure. Khan scrapped the Royal Park Police, a specialist unit that specifically managed London's royal parks, including their 5,000 acres of public land. These weren't just generic officers. They were specialists who understood parks policing, crowd management in green spaces, and how to facilitate public use whilst maintaining safety. And Khan got rid of them, presumably as a cost-saving measure, and now expects safer neighborhood teams to somehow cover that massive gap. The decision to scrap Royal Parks Police is emblematic of progressive approaches to policing that sound good ideologically but fail catastrophically in practice. The thinking probably went something like, specialist units are inefficient. We should have generalist officers who can handle everything. We can save money by consolidating. Except policing doesn't work that way. Specialists exist because certain types of policing require specific expertise and dedicated resources. Parks policing is different from street policing, is different from traffic policing, is different from detective work. When you eliminate specialists and expect generalists to cover everything, quality suffers across the board because nobody has the time, training, or focus to do any particular job properly. Hall points out that it wasn't just Royal Park Police that Khan cut. It wasn't just the Royal Park Police, dog units, horse units, forensics. There were so many officers taken out of units that some of them we wouldn't be aware of so much. This is death by 1,000 cuts. Each individual unit elimination might seem defensible in isolation, a cost saving here, an efficiency there, but cumulatively you're hollowing out police capability across multiple dimensions. And when crisis moments arrive, when you actually need those capabilities, they are gone, and you're left fencing off parks because you lack the resources to police them properly. The financial aspect is also crucial. Khan positions himself as tough on crime, pointing to a record £1.16 billion in support for police this year. That sounds impressive until you consider what's actually happening on the ground. Police numbers are down. Specialist units have been eliminated. Response times are worse. Crime rates in various categories are up. And parks are being closed on major holidays because there aren't enough resources to keep them safely open. So where exactly is that £1.16 billion going? Into administration? Into bureaucracy? Into initiatives that sound good in press releases but don't actually result in more effective policing? Hall's point about police recruitment is also damning. You know how bad things are in London. We are so short of police officers, and we're not recruiting enough, and that is down to Sadiq Khan, who is our Police and Crime Commissioner. As Police and Crime Commissioner, Khan has direct responsibility for Metropolitan Police funding, strategy, and priorities. If recruitment is failing, if numbers are down, if capabilities are being lost, that's his responsibility. He can't blame central government or external factors when he's the one with statutory authority over London policing. The comparison to Sydney that Hall makes is absolutely devastating because it highlights how other major cities manage to facilitate public celebration, whilst London apparently cannot. In Sydney, there are 48 spots to see these wonderful fireworks. 39 of them are free for their residents to go and have a look. 48 viewing spots. 39 free. Sydney manages to provide extensive public access to New Year's celebrations whilst maintaining safety and security. London can't even keep one hill open. What does that tell you about relative competence and priorities? Hall continues, and we want to bring young people into London. We want people to come in and enjoy themselves. And if all we do is fence places off so that people can't have a good time, it's absolutely appalling. This gets to something fundamental about what cities are supposed to be. Cities should be places where people can gather, celebrate, enjoy public spaces, and feel part of a community. When your approach to city management is to fence things off and keep people out because you can't manage safety properly, you're failing at the basic purpose of urban governance. The Royal Parks Charities statement that the decision was not taken lightly and that without formal organization there are limited controls that we can deploy to ensure public safety is revealing. It's essentially an admission that London has lost the capability to manage spontaneous public gatherings. Everything has to be formally organized, ticketed, controlled, managed through bureaucratic processes, or it can't happen at all. That represents a fundamental loss of urban capability and a society becoming less free and spontaneous because institutions can no longer handle anything that isn't pre-planned and tightly controlled. Tom Harwood's concern about more and more parks being fenced off due to lack of efficient security is exactly right, and Hall's agreement that yes, they will, because they can't be kept safe, should alarm every Londoner. This isn't just about Primrose Hill on one night. This is about a trajectory where public spaces become progressively less accessible because policing resources aren't adequate to keep them safely open. Today it's Primrose Hill on New Year's Eve. Tomorrow it's other parks during other events. Eventually you've got a London where public space access is severely curtailed because the mayor prioritized other spending over public safety and accessibility. The Khan spokesman's statement that nothing is more important to the mayor than keeping London safe rings completely hollow when the practical effect of his policies is closing public spaces and turning away young people who want to celebrate. If safety was truly the priority, you'd fund police properly, maintain specialist units, ensure adequate resources for managing major events, and find ways to facilitate safe public celebration rather than simply preventing it entirely. The mention of Khan's Violence Reduction Unit as evidence of being tough on the complex causes of crime is also telling. Progressive politicians love talking about addressing root causes and prevention, which sound enlightened and forward-thinking. But when you're so focused on long-term prevention that you neglect immediate enforcement and safety, when you're spending on intervention programs whilst cutting police units, the result is exactly what we're seeing. A city that can't keep a hill safely open on New Year's Eve whilst claiming to be tough on crime. Thanks for watching. Demand leaders who can keep cities open, not mayors who find it easier to fence them off.